The most important thing is that you take action. You see, the major difference between successful people and failures is successful people are action-oriented and failures are not. And I keep looping back to that, and I've been studying this for 30, 40 years now, and I keep looping back, and I found every single study says that successful people are result-oriented. Successful people are action-oriented. They think of what they want and they take action. Does it work? Now, if you take action, only two things can happen. What are they? Succeed or fail. Pretty simple. If you succeed, you do more of it. If you fail, what do? You learn something and try something else. Human beings are trial and failure organisms. We trial and fail, try and fail, try and fail, try and fail, try and fail, and then try and succeed. Phil Knight, the president of Nike Shoes, says, you only have to succeed the last time. And you know, if you read every single story of every single man or woman who's ever accomplished anything, their entire life is a lifetime of failure. It is failure, 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 outstanding success. Boy, wasn't he lucky. You'll find that successful people try far more things, and most of the things you try won't work. At least they won't work initially. So therefore, the thing is to keep trying, because you have a cybernetic organism or a mechanism built into your brain, which means every time you try anything, you learn something. You try something and you learn something, and you learn what works and you learn what doesn't work. So you find there's a direct relationship between the number of times you try and how likely it is you are to triumph. And so if you hear a good idea today, resolve to give it a try. Move out of your comfort zone. It's the courage to move into your zone of discomfort, where you feel awkward and clumsy and sometimes alone. The comfort zone is one of the greatest enemies of human potential and of your potential. When people get into a comfort zone, they strive to stay in that comfort zone, even if they're not happy with their situation. Often their whole lives pass them by while they're furnishing and reinforcing their little rut of medium performance. You need the courage to continually move yourself in the direction of your biggest goals and ambitions. You need to be willing to face discomfort in order for you to grow. You need the courage to launch in faith with no guarantees of success. Someone once wrote, if every obstacle must first be overcome, nothing will ever get done. Courageous people are those who have a dream and set a goal, they make a plan, and they take the first step with no assurances and no guarantees that their efforts will result in success. However, if you look upon every step forward as a learning experience, and every setback as a valuable lesson that has been sent to you to make you stronger and better, you will not be afraid to launch in faith into the unknown. You need the courage to risk failure. You need the courage to endure constant setbacks and disappointments and temporary defeats. You need to learn to deal with failure by realizing that failure is an indispensable prerequisite for success. You can't succeed without failing, and failing lots of times. Remember that wonderful quote from Thomas J. Watson Sr., the founder of IBM? He said, if you want to be successful faster, you must double your rate of failure. He said, success lies on the far side of failure. You need the courage to treat failure as an opportunity to more intelligently begin again. You need to overcome the fear of failure by doing the things you fear over and over until the fear is gone. And then by resolving to bounce rather than break when things don't work out for you. You need the courage to turn toward danger continuously, to face the things you fear. Now, identify all the fear situations in your life that cause you stress or anxiety today. Decide what the worst possible outcome of each of these situations might be. Resolve to accept the worst should it occur. And then take action to resolve each of these situations. Refuse to allow a fear situation to remain in your life, dominating your thinking and emotions and holding you back. You need the courage to be willing to make mistakes and learn from them. All peak performers continually make decisions, make mistakes, learn from them, pick themselves up, self-correct, and carry on. Successful people are not those who necessarily make the right decisions all the time, but by hanging in there, they make their decisions right. If they make a mistake, they accept it. They learn as much as possible from it, failing and making mistakes, and carry on. The more you fail and the more mistakes you make, the smarter you become, and the more likely it is that you will eventually achieve your goals. You also need the courage to accept complete responsibility for your life, which means to take ownership for results. You need the courage to refuse to make excuses or to defend yourself. You need the courage to say, over and over again, I am responsible. I am responsible, and refuse to blame anybody else. When something goes wrong, you focus on the solution rather than the problem or the person. You ask, what do we do from here? What's the next step? What's the solution? What action should we take? You then pick yourself up and carry on, extracting the wheat, the lessons from the situation, and throwing away the chaff, the things that happen that you cannot change. The final courage you need is the courage to persist longer than anyone else. Persistence is the quality that will ultimately guarantee your success. Your willingness to persist in the face of every adversity can be your greatest asset. The ability to persist is the number one quality for success in every field in life. It can be the one factor that guarantees your success in the end. If you refuse to quit, you must ultimately succeed. Just as in baseball, you won't ultimately hit a home run unless you keep on swinging. In 30 years of studying successful people, I've discovered one fact over and over. No one was ever defeated until they accepted defeat as a reality. No one can ever defeat you but yourself.
Decide what you really, 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 really want in life, financial independence, and then make a decision that you will persist until you succeed. You will never give up until you achieve it. Make the decision, shut the door behind you as far as you're concerned, is you will never give up. Failure is not an option. To get to the top of your field, you must become very good at what you do. This is one of the secrets of self-made millionaires. First of all, they have big dreams. Second of all, they accept responsibility. Third of all, they commit themselves to becoming excellent at what they do. Fourth of all, they set clear goals, have a clear sense of direction. They constantly upgrade their skills. They're teachable. They learn. So we say to be in the top 10% in your field, you're going to have to be in the top 10% in your field, which means you're going to have to become very good at what you do. There's no average, there's no high pay for average performance. And so how long does it take to get into the top 10%? There's 50 years of studies on the subject of mastery. How long does it take for a person to achieve mastery? Average 7 years. 7 years and 10,000 hours of hard work. And you and I are our speakers. And one of the things when I started off speaking, I would see other speakers who spoke so fluently and fluidly and beautifully. You have some of them on this show like Zig Ziglar and Dennis Wayland. Wow, these people are so competent. They're so smooth. Their timing is beautiful. And of course, when you start off, you're rough and you have good ideas and enthusiasm, but you're unpolished, as they say. Well, then I learned something very valuable, is that success in speaking comes from the number of hours you speak. If you speak a few hours a year, it will take you a lifetime. You'll never be good. If you speak like the professionals do, 100 talks a year, average of 3 hours a talk, 300 to 500 hours a year. After 10 years, you've done 3,000 hours. After 20 years, you've done 6,000 hours. And nothing replaces the hours on your feet in front of a critical public audience.
Sure.
Well, it's the same thing in speaking. It takes about 7 years before you have spoken enough so that you're really good. Selling, diesel mechanics, neurosurgery, dentistry. Takes 7 years. Law, accounting. Takes 7 years. And when I first heard that, someone said, it will take you 7 years to master your craft. I had been in it for about 3 years. I said, no darn way, not 7 years, not me. I want more. It took 7 years.
Yeah.
So, people say if you want to be one of the highest paid salespeople in your industry, it will take 7 years. That's not just 7 years of doing the job. You've got to be reading, studying, practicing, starting earlier, working harder, staying later. I mean, you have to put it in if you want to achieve mastery, because there's a lot of competition out there.
All successful people, of my experience, are people who are living fully engaged. They are fully involved in their lives and in their goals. They don't do things by half measures. They may have no guarantees, but they're not afraid to put their whole hearts into their activities. If they fail by trying greatly, not by playing it safe and wishing and hoping that everything will work out all right in the future. What they do is they take great risks with no guarantee of success, and so can you.
Nothing works the first time. Nothing works the first 5 or 10 times. Sometimes you'll have to work at something for years before it works. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in history took 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
The perfect example, the fax machine. The fax machine was developed, by the way, at the same time that Federal Express was trying to develop an electronic message center. They spent $185 million at it. Somebody invented a fax machine. And Federal Express wrote off their investment because the fax machine could do it almost at no cost. But it took almost 6 or 7 years before the fax machine hit critical mass. Now, almost all of us remember, have you got a fax machine? No, but the people down the hallway do. We can go down and use their fax machine. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now kids have fax machines.
Yeah.
Well, once it took off, it sold by the tens of millions, really transformed the world. Cell phones straight along. You used to have a suitcase for a cell phone. It took 5 or 6 or 7 years, and suddenly they got the technology right and the price right. Boom. Personal computers. Each one of these things at a certain point, the IBM, best research at IBM said the world market for personal computers is no more than 300 to 400 units. That's what they said in 1975, 76.
Right.
So they just walked away from it. Then Apple came along and built their computer in a garage, and the world market became 100 billion units.
Yeah.
So when you start off with a new recipe, it's not going to work. Now, what happens when people get a new idea and they put it all together and try it out and it doesn't work? They give up. But the person who has tasted a dish, let's say you and I go to a friend's house or a restaurant, and they have a really great dish. They gotta have this recipe. I say, yeah, take the recipe home and we try it, and it tastes terrible. We say, well, wait a minute, we have an advantage. We know this can taste good because we have tasted it. We're not positive thinkers. We're not wishing and hoping and dreaming. We know it's just a matter of going back and looking at the way we mixed it. Just keep remembering, failure is not an option. I'm unstoppable. Nobody's smarter than me. Nobody's better than me. If they're doing better, it's because they figured out the formula before me.
Many years ago at a talk, I was speaking to Rich DeVos when he was on his way up. Rich DeVos, the president of Amway, worth $5.3 billion today, started off knocking on doors selling soap. And he was working his way up. And I asked him, I said, what have you found? What's the most important quality of successful people? And he said, Brian, he said, we found there's a direct relationship. I still remember him telling me this, between how quickly a person takes action on a new idea and how likely it is they'll ever take action on any idea at all. And so the action orientation is the critical thing. We watch people, everybody hears the same things, they hear the same ideas, but then we watch and we see how quickly they take action. And if a person takes action quickly on a new idea, the chances are they're going to be successful go up by hundreds of %. Now, what most people do is they say, that's a great idea, it's a wonderful idea, I'm going to do that, ooh, I'm so excited. But before I apply it, I need to take a vacation to a wonderful place called Someday Isle. And so they go to Someday Isle, and they live on Someday Isle. And who are they surrounded with on Someday Isle? Other people on Someday Isle. And what is the chief topic of conversation on Someday Isle? Yes, it's their excuses. What's your excuse for not taking action? What's your excuse for not getting going? What's your excuse for not losing weight, getting out of debt, building your business, writing your book, getting your book finished, getting your damn book started? You know, in other words, what's your excuse? And they'll all share excuses. Oh, that's a good excuse. I haven't used that one for a long time. That'll take me another year. And so what they do is they sit around, and the bottom 80% of the population lives on Someday Isle most of their lives. They all have these great resolutions and these wonderful intentions, but what's their road to hell paved with? It's good intentions, and I'm going to do that someday. So rule number 1 for success is whatever you learn here, vote yourself off the island. No more Someday Isle. Either do it or don't do it.
You can't change the past, but you could change the future. So start now. Some people just decide at the age of 50, by gum, I'm going to be one of the top people. Now, fortunately, they don't have to spend 7 years because they've got a lot of investment and 2 to 3 years of hard work, and suddenly they're earning 10 times what they were earning before. Because some people don't realize how close they are to breaking through. The starting point is to remember this, is that the key to entrepreneurial success is you have to sell something to somebody. You have to find something at one price, or create it, or build it, or buy it, or import it, or distribute it, and to sell it at a higher price. In America, you can start, there's 1,000 businesses you can start for less than $25 or less, $50. Multi-level marketing is a high road. Most people who go into multi-level marketing don't make a lot of money in multi-level marketing, but they learn the business skills that enable them to succeed at a greater level in other areas. You could start a small business on the side. Sometimes, for example, I'll give you an example. There's a thriving business in garage sales. Is people have garage sales, and they're professional garage sale buyers who are waiting. Literally, you start your garage sale at 8 o'clock Saturday morning, they're there with their trucks. They are developed the ability to pick and choose and get the best stuff, and they accumulate. And then what they do is they sell it at swap meets, they sell it at antiques, or they hold their own garage sales.
And then there's the ultimate garage sale, eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can sell anything to anybody anywhere.
Absolutely. So there's so many different ways of doing it, but just please understand, key is you have to buy and sell something. People say, well, I'm not very good at sales. Get over it. For heaven's sakes, selling, everybody can sell. I mean, if we sell to our kids to go to bed on time, to clean up their rooms, it's selling and persuasion are skills that you can learn. And once you've learned the skill of being able to buy something and then sell it to somebody else by explaining to them why it's a good idea that they buy it, the more you do it, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more of it you can do. And so just remember that the starting point of becoming a self-made millionaire is to buy and sell a good or service. And to get better and better at doing this, and read the books on entrepreneurship, study your craft, learn what you need to learn. And there's really no limits to what you could accomplish.
Take responsibility for everything you do. A mindset for success means being able to take responsibility for all that you do, whether good or bad. If you make a mistake or harm someone along your path, taking responsibility lets you contain the damage and preserve your reputation. It also encourages you to think about how you could avoid that mistake in the future. Likewise, if you accomplish something, you have to claim responsibility for it. Only then will others realize what you can do and support you on your path to success. Never underestimate the value of a positive attitude toward achieving your goals. No matter the path you follow, it can be easy to get discouraged by temporary setbacks or failures to achieve specific goals. Positive thinking means identifying these setbacks as learning opportunities. This makes it easier to overcome small failures and continue striving towards your goals. Positive thinking also tends to make you a more pleasant person to be around, allowing you to attract support from others who can help you along the way.
I study in a variety of areas. I study politics, I study economics, I study business, I study spiritual things, history, and so on. My big thing right now is the centrality of entrepreneurship to every society. And what I've concluded, and I've started to write extensively on this, is that the rate of new business formation in any society determines the health and prosperity and growth and opportunities and future of that society. So prosperous societies have high rates of competent new business formation. And poor societies have very low rates. And corrupt societies have terrible rates. Our friend from Ghana will tell you it takes 6 to 18 months to start a business in Ghana. It costs thousands of dollars of corruption and bribes. And once you've started in a business, you put a red flag for the corrupt officials who come around and shake you down every few days.
And make you unable to do your business.
So the Ghanaians are some of the most entrepreneurial people in Africa, and they're just totally frustrated in their ability to break out. Well, in America, you can start a business overnight. And my job, my goal, the things I'm most enthusiastic about is teaching people how to start and build successful businesses. Because these are skills. And every business that goes broke because it's like a ship that founders on a rock, is they don't understand the importance of marketing or costing or pricing or advertising or budgeting or planning or organizing or hiring or delegating or supervising or selling or collecting or working with their banks. And all of these are skills that entrepreneurs, you can either take a whole life to get them, or you can take them faster. So what I'm most excited about is helping America to become even more entrepreneurial by not just having 2 million people a year start businesses, but having more and more of them start businesses knowing what they're doing, and then roll it out worldwide. Because I think the key to prosperity for Russia, for China, obviously, for Latin America, for every country, is a vibrant rate of new business development. And that's what offers more possibilities for more individuals to achieve more of their goals, to be independent, to be self-reliant, to be financially well off, to achieve all their goals and abilities. So that's what I'm...
Whenever you are thinking about your goals or obstacles to achieving those goals, you must be able to identify clear actions that you can take in response. The more readily you can transfer an idea or desire into a practical action, the easier it will be to make progress towards your most important goals. you.